Yes, brother. How are you, Mr. Panulo? I was trying to reply like I wasn't live already. And yes, there's a little sweat, man. I was doing a lot of stuff outside, uh, you know, trying to prep coils for, you know, like to burn so that they can take care of the mosquitoes and all that kind of stuff. So, hey, we are in some fun territory, guys. Um, how are you, Mr. Panulo? First of all, we're going to talk about what to expect for tomorrow, that's for sure, and the upcoming week. Leah, how are you doing? Welcome to the chat. Mr. Pabloco, the legend. Tater Tot, is this where the party is at? Well, with you now it is. um, man, this is going to be interesting times that we're coming in. Mickey J, the goat. I see you got your popcorn ready. Um, Thanks for coming in, guys, all of you. I'm waiting just on a few more people to come in so we can get the show started. We have a lot of good things to talk about with obviously AMC tomorrow, next week, bbig. Uh, so please don't forget to like the video so that we can get more and more people and the algorithms to come in. What we have to say today is going to be very important. Let's see. I'm going to start with talking about uh, bbig, and then we're going to talk about AMC. That way, more people will be in to hear the important stuff. Okay. Hmm. There's a lot of changes in the options chain for next week. Okay. Hanzo, welcome. As long as you're with us, that's all that matters, Hanzo. Hopefully you're having a great time at work. Thank you everyone. Thank you everyone for liking the video because it is pushing out the algorithm to more and more people. So let's talk about BBIG, starting with BBIG, okay? And then we're going to tackle our way to GME and AMC. I wanted to leave, obviously, the best for last. Mikey, there's a lot of places that I look at for the option, but you could really look at just about anywhere. They're all very accurate as far as numbers wise. I've compared them. So I always look at Weebles because it's right there in front of you. Everything is set up. You don't have to scroll, and it's on my phone instead of having to go on my computer. As far as I need to see every strike price, so I'm not looking at the options data like some other websites. They will show you a lot more stuff. Um, I just need to see the strike prices, the volume, and the open interest on the strike prices. And I'm gonna also look at the chart to see exactly what the technical analysis is also giving us. And guess what, guys? Today, I even have the infamous coffee that hopefully I do not drop. Because if we drop it, you know what happened last time. Okay. So with BBIG, let's tackle some of the confusion that's going on. We have a lot of confusion as far as what is happening with Cryptide. There's a lot of confusion as in like a lot of people thinks that the 18 was still the cutoff date, and where in reality there's a lot of confusion going on, and where now is being pushed to the 27th, and the settling date will be on June. I think it was 2nd or 1st. So to avoid all the confusion, because there's going to be a lot of he say and she say, and no one is going to be right at the end. So to be safe, I wouldn't look personally, since I am invested in this. This is an opinion, not a financial advice. A lot of people are going to be focusing on that date. A lot of people were focusing on, for example, yesterday. Oh yes, with knowing the market, with the way that the market has been working, you family should already all know that yesterday was going to be a sellout day. They want to shake off a lot of paper hands. They want to shake off a lot of people, and I don't think they were able to successfully doing so because, again, the price is so low, and now you're looking at Cryptide. And by the way, you can search it because it's already out. Uh, let's see, it's under the ticker symbol Tide V so far until the split off happens. And as you can see, they have like it there's been a lot of manipulation on it. It at some point yesterday it was at 25 and then it brought it down. It says the 52-week high was 19, even though I personally even saw it at 25. There was a period where it went to 25 and then instantly they dropped it right back down to 19 after I think it was like some sort of halt. And then eventually it sat on 1349 for the 52 week low, which again, it's just a 1 day low. And now it's at 1375. As we stand right here, every 10 BBIGs, if today was the distribution day, because you could buy it and sell it. You could buy and sell Cryptide as of right now, if you would like. But you would obviously pay for it. Now, the cool part here about BBIG, if you own BBIG, is that every 10 BBIGs you already own, you're going to get one of these things for free. So assuming today was the split off day and the distribution day, and they were going to send you out your Cryptide, you were basically going to look at a $14, between $13 to $15 every Cryptide. So, for example, if you had 10,000 BBIGs, just an example here, and that means you get 1,000 Cryptides. 1,000 Cryptides. After you get them, you could do whatever you want with them. I'm assuming if you sell them, you're going to get, if it's anywhere between 13 and 15, and let's say it's $14, you're looking at $14,000 extra besides what you own in BBIG already. So to be safe, now that we're weighing out everything as far as the good, the bad, the ugly, and all that stuff, there is also a possibility, like I said, that this is what I was afraid of. You guys remember me mentioning this. I don't think anybody else ever even mentioned this. This is just me. And I don't want it to be true, so I hope I'm wrong on this, is that it might be cheaper for them. You guys remember that conversation. It might be cheaper for them to buy out the dividend or the sellout, basically, in other words, or the split, the special spinoff, and buy that for every 10 BBIGs, just buy one. It's much easier for them than have to cover all BBIG madness, because the BBIG madness, I think, is like in some other universe. It's not even in this galaxy. If BBIG breaks out and these guys cover BBIG, you guys have no idea, and the BBIG community itself have no idea how serious that is. BBIG, in my own personal humble opinion, is right there behind AMC and GME as far as market manipulation and how much, because of how cheap it is. There's been so many months where it was even way more manipulated than AMC and GME also combined. You guys remember when I posted failure to delivers on BBIG, which is on a different planet compared to AMC and GME as of late. It's not there yet with the community as far as how many people are into BBIG, but it's gaining that momentum right now, and that all that exposure. Could that mean it's a laid out trap? It's a possibility, and I laid out how they could easily just buy out the dividend. It's cheaper. It's a loss for them, but it's cheaper than having to deal with BBIG, because BBIG breaking out and they have to cover those failure to delivers, or in other words, they have to cover those shorts on it. Boy, even the BBIG community, this is the biggest problem I have with BBIG community, is the evaluation is so terrible for their cause. Most people are talking about $10, $8, $12, and it's saddening, because that's what the price will go up to, in my humble opinion, once one guy starts covering. Remember, once one of their guys starts covering, because of the amount of short on it and the cost to borrow, how crazy it is on it, it's beyond imagination. So that's the only problem I'm seeing with the BBIG community, is that they devaluate their stock very, very, very much compared to where we in GME and AMC don't have that issue. Yeah, we have a problem with what's the brackets and all that kind of crazy talk, but we don't have a problem with, we're not saying we're going to sell for 20 or 10 or 15. We don't even have that. Like, I haven't even seen a shield that tries to even shield that low. um, so that's the good, the bad, and the ugly. So what's the best thing to do at the end of the day? Well, I'm going to hold my BBIG one until I see what I need or what I want. If BBIG doesn't squeeze by June 3rd, because they say June 1st, June 2nd, it could all uh, the cryptides could be settled and distributed, then I'll hold until then. If BBIG doesn't squeeze, then hey, I'll be selling my cryptides for free. They came to me for free. So my cryptides alone are going to get me back my BBIG investment plus some. I'll sell that and I will go ahead and, see what happens with BBIG down the line. I mean, at that point, I have zero risk and zero tolerance, or I'm not exposed to anything because, my money is back already. And I mentioned that months ago for all of you guys that this is my contingent plan, that in case this happens, I'm going to go with this. Uh, so maybe Hanzo saying maybe 1K per share BBIG. Now, here's the thing. I wouldn't be like, don't be surprised, like if it does happen. But again, I'll be surprised if they chose to cover BBIG first. If they cover BBIG, I wouldn't be surprised if you see that, Hanzo. A lot of people are not going to expect it. The problem is the community itself devaluates its own stock. That's the only issue with the BBIG community. So when you start hearing majority of the people talking about 10 and 12 and whatever, then you start worrying, like, oh my God, if only this play catches on fire, this play could easily be the gateway to AMC and GME ripping to unlimited amounts. Like if you want AMC to have if you want the other side not to have to have zero control, excuse me, um, over the crazy brackets that people are thinking about. Like for example, if people want 4-digit AMC or GME share price and all that stuff, or 5-digit or 6-digit, whatever the case may be, uh, that would easily be a case if BBIG rips. Why is this connected to this? You're like, this have nothing to do with that. Yes, it does, because many people, especially the market maker, also has plays on almost every play out there, and one of them is BBIG. When you see a lot of those same companies shorting the same other companies, that means it's in their portfolio. It's a bug in their portfolio. If they get obliterated on BBIG, then they're going to get margin called on all the other plays because they're over leveraged on the other plays. And if that happens, then that means there's zero control for them over AMC and GME and the outcome. And that's not what they want. They do not want that. They want to at least be able to maintain as much as possible as control over it, so that it doesn't get to that point where they're margined and they can't, like there's nothing that they can do. I personally think, like, here's best case scenario, worst case scenario. Best case scenario, which I'm leaning toward, the best case scenario is that they get obliterated on BBIG, and then our time is coming. Then they get completely berated over AMC, GME, and Sundial and all the other stuff that they're shorting because they're holding it in their portfolio. If that is not the case, and the worst case scenario happens, let's say they manipulate the BBIG situation, because this has been heavily manipulated. Like Cryptide yesterday was dark pooled like crazy. BBIGV was dark pooled like crazy. BBIG itself was dark pooled like crazy. It's like yesterday was BBIG day. Literally, it was literally on the planet. It was just BBIG day. That's why you saw a sense of relief on AMC, and it ran just a little bit. And you saw that GameStop went down, and if a lot of people remember yesterday, I was mentioning GME yesterday. If a lot of people took advantage of that as a swing trade, today they would have made a lot of money because that was a $10 rate gain on the stock that, option wise, that's dependent on how many options you have. That's 10 options on that. $10, you're looking at a few $1,000 at least, somewhere between 4 to 5, depending on when you get in K. And possibly even a little bit more than that, depending on when you got in and when you got out. So, excuse me, coffee sip break. So, the worst case scenario again, BBIG does not rip. They manipulate it. They pay off the they pay for the squeeze on the dividend of Cryptide, and therefore after that, because it's a special spinoff, BBIG is giving birth to Cryptide, which means don't be surprised when you see the price of BBIG drop. So that's, I'm already prepping you for that. If they chose to do what I'm just saying right now to cover dividend of Cryptide, expect BBIG to drop like from the sky all the way to earth. But if they do that, for all of you people, here's who's going to get screwed up. People who only played options on BBIG, if they choose to do that route. On the other side, the people who played the options will get completely obliterated, obviously, because their options are on BBIG, not on Cryptide. And the people that will benefit the most are obviously the people that bought shares into BBIG and into the company, because after buying shares into the company, now they got more exposure to more Cryptides, which also means you get, if they chose to get that part or that side to squeeze, the Cryptide squeeze, and buy that dividend out, then you're going to have a major, like Cryptide itself could probably go to 3 digits, maybe 60, 70, who knows? And if it goes to that point, then, the people who got Cryptides will sell them. They make the difference and they'll be well off. So yeah, that's the good and that's the bad. So watch out from the option plays on BBIG itself, guys, because I'm not telling you not to do it or to do it or what not to do. I'm just laying out all the things so that you can cover your bases based on your best risk tolerance level that you are comfortable with. And welcome Radwan and Big B. Yo. And that should cover BBIG for you guys. As far as what are Cryptide, like the Cryptide V, when you're seeing them on, you can see it on your Webull or on your TD Ameritrade or whatever broker you deal with. So you can put in TYDE, and that automatically will take you to Cryptide, and you'll see Cryptide V. And then you also have a BBIG V. That's another ticker symbol right now. And then you have the actual BBIG. And that's because right now they're doing the special spinoff, and that's why there's 3 different ones. All that will change after it's all over. Cryptide will have its own. There will be no V next to it and all that stuff. And everything else moves forward. KJW, I was just reading your comment and it got me to stutter. I hope all these catalysts don't turn out to be duds. Expect the worst, hope for the and hope for the best. That's exactly what I'm gonna reply to that, KJW. And here's the thing: we're used to them doing so much manipulation to the point where it's formed PTSD for all of us. Like in the back of our head, how are we gonna get screwed? Like you approach every play with that mindset of how are they gonna screw me on this? It's impossible that they let this run. It seems so easy. Well, that is true. They've been doing that to us left and right for all along. But you got to remember, at the end of the day, something has got to give. They can't keep all these things down for good. Look at Microsoft, guys. You see Microsoft take a 4% dive yesterday, and I think it continued doing so today. Not very much. Today was a bull trap laid out at its finest for everybody and throughout the whole market, unless you swung plays or you were playing plays to get it out of them. make your money over 1 day day trading today, you're setting yourself up for PTSD. Exactly. You got it, KW. You're setting yourself up for a major letdown tomorrow, I personally think. You see as well the everything like plunge protection team was at work today. It made sure GME was pushed up. It made sure AMC was above that $13 because tomorrow they're going to go to work. I personally think before actually no, I won't get into that. I'm about to get into that right now, but let me just finish this uh, topic about look at Amazon yesterday get obliterated 7% down for a blue chip stock, one trading session. And that's nothing yet. You're seeing the SPY, obviously, getting screwed. You're seeing the crypto right now looking like it's rebounding, which it really isn't. It's 5% up. We've seen this happen, this setup happened before last week, and I feel like it's going to be the same again. So look out for 27,000 for Bitcoin or 26,000 sometime soon, real soon. That's if they don't let it run from here on to the weekend until next week, because next week is a different story. Remember, last week I told you guys that this is the week of sorrow. And you're seeing that right now on display. You've seen it throughout the whole week, right? Who labeled it as such a week ago? I did for you, because you could see it on the options chain and you could see it on the technical analysis with things. And remember, about almost 3 weeks ago, I gave you a cryptic message. Keep that in mind. And I didn't say it, I put it in the community tab. We have a very interesting week next week to look at. As you can see, Target fell off. If any of you are following that, TGT, it fell off yesterday and it continued followed it by another minus 5%. I think yesterday it fell 25 or 28%. And that was catastrophic. It made a new 52-week low. You've seen Walmart doing submitting bad returns and all that stuff. And don't think this is buy-in time. Even though that they're a very low evaluation, this is just the market showing you that right now, and this is cool. This was supposed to be the case a long time ago. But right now, the reason why the market is going to react exotically to everything is because it's behind. Stocks like Walmart, Target, any retail stock should have been completely down many months ago, if not since the beginning of last year even. But instead, the Fed's been pumping and the streets have been playing the stock market completely. Plunge protection team making sure things are staying up to date according to a certain agenda that I don't know who's behind it. I'll leave it out there so that I'm not making certain allegations against certain entities. And like yesterday, my stream got completely cut. You saw that, guys, yesterday at the end? It literally, like, my phone couldn't do anything. I just got paused and I couldn't even use the phone itself for like a good 12 minutes. And by the time I returned back, they already had, closed out the video and the live. Normally they'll let you resume, but they didn't. They just finished it out. And I was like, oh my God, this is terrible. Anyways, we're back here again, and we're back here for today. So yes, this, like retail, let me tell you why this should have been down from the get-go. Cost of goods, cost of things have been skyrocketing since forever. So it made no sense that those stocks were already they were making 52-week highs when the cost on things it makes no sense. If I'm the key to retail and the number one key in the retail world is the whole thing is the cost and the profit margin. That's what retail comes down to. Whatever your business is, obviously, if it's retail and if you're selling over the counter, doesn't matter what it is, whether you're selling TVs, microphones, cotton candy, whatever you're selling, popcorn, what does it cost you? And what is your profit margin in between? That's retail 101 for you. So when a lot of business owners, whether small or big, are getting into an adventure, a business adventure, that's the first thing they look at to see if they should even entertain the idea of this business, right? That's the first thing I do. I look at it. For example, I did a little something. It was funny. It was like about 7 months ago. I went on. I contacted a Chinese factory overseas, and my one of my Turkish friends, he does this. He has a lot of kiosks, and once upon a time, I did sell. You remember this fidget spinners? I went and opened up kiosks in like 4 different malls in Cincinnati and Dayton and Kentucky area, and I was getting shipments of fidget spinners because they were the trend, and I was putting them in there. I only had the kiosk for 3 months, which is in the holiday season and in the summertime. Uh, so the summertime, I was like, okay, should I keep it till the holiday season? It was said yes, but on the holiday season, the malls will charge more because they know that it's very busy season. But it was worth it because the trend was moving. I seen what it made in the summer. I could only imagine what it's going to make me in the holidays, and it was a very successful investment. And it was very brief, and it was something different I've never done before. But it was all cool. Once you know the basics of business and the retail and how to handle it, if you know how to manage one thing, any other business is exactly the same, even though it's a different topic. But everything else is the same. You could run it the same. It's just all about that management. Once you know how to open and profit and operate a business, it's a piece of cake for the rest of the other businesses down the line. Like you could go ahead and get into, uh, businesses selling whatever, doing whatever, and you can operate it in the same mindset, even though it's something completely different. Um, so, with that being said, I went and got these bikes from this manufacturer in China, and he was like, I ordered like 100 bikes, and they were very cheap because he gotten a wholesale, and then brought them in, and then I had a friend do this little Shopify thing, and they sold all of them on there. I never even received the bikes here. It was like in some warehouse, and it was sold. A lot of people are hip to this. It became a trend for a little while, and it still is. Um, I just wanted to check it and see the truth of it and what's behind it. But first thing I looked at is how much was all the bikes, the 100 was going to cost me. I divided that per bike, and I knew what each one will cost me after shipping and tax and everything. And after I sell it, how much tax will I pay on each bike? After I summed it all up, I divided it all by down. I dwindled it down to the one, and then I took that one and see how much. Based on that, I was able to figure out how much I was going to sell it for because I knew what I wanted my profit margin to be. Now, once I was able to come up with that, I was like, is that something reasonable? Will somebody come and pay a price for that? Because your price that you would like uh, also have to be reasonable with the street, with what people are paying for bikes. Will people pay this much for this bike? And when I was like, okay, when each bike with profit for me, I was gonna sell for $69.99, literally like that number was gonna still make, because each bike was gonna cost me less than $18. So I was able to make 40 something bucks on pure profit. Uh, and sorry, we'll say exactly 40 because the other few dollars we threw it on shipping and handling and tax and all that stuff. So I made around close to about anywhere between 35 to 40 bucks per bike multiplied by 100. And I never even had to touch or store any of them. Um, so it's an amazing feeling. So just why am I saying this right here? It has nothing to do with AMC or bbig or GME. It's because I'm expanding the horizons of your thinking process so that even afterwards, or when you have capital, to show you that it's not only like your income or your stream of income doesn't need to only rely on one thing. Uh, you could do that, like what I just said, on the side for minimal, amount or whatever amount, and you have capital by then for that, and you can make yourself some money without having to be tied up only to the market, only to the stock market. And the cool part is you have to choose the time of the year and what product. You see, it becomes cool. If you're business savvy or you like that kind of headache, it's cool to jump or dive right into that kind of stuff because again, you have to think like, okay, summertime, it's winter right now, almost summer. I need to get swimming attire or cool looking swimming shorts or trunks. You can get real creative with it because you know what time of the season and what people are going to be looking for, and you can open up an Amazon account or any of that stuff, and it can be profitable for you. Obviously, a lot of people's problems are always having needing to have the capital to do something like that, and you, my friends, are not going to have that issue uh, at some point soon in the near future, hopefully. So now we jump over to GME. What happened with GME is obviously people, well, one, shorting to keep it down. Day trade, like these bars that are taking it back and forth. In the same time, like people they buying and selling to themselves. The algorithm is getting screwed over because it needs money and it needs shares, but obviously we're getting to the time now where none of that stuff is available at your palm, at the palms of your finger. Another major issue that they have is that even with all the catastrophe that the government has laid out as far as 50 base point hike, another 25 before, and now they're going to start unloading their assets. As I've been preparing you for this since they announced it a month ago. Um, and all that, what's happening in the market right now, and none of this stuff still went into effect. It's just announcements. Wait till this stuff goes in effect. As I told you, next month, uh, this is it, like that's when the absolute catastrophe you'll see. I think that we're looking at right now, um, tomorrow to be a crazy bloody day, um, and then next week is going to be, I think, a mix of some good news for us and a lot of destruction happening on the market itself overall. Like the actual bleeding will start this. I feel like it's in the upcoming week, and maybe just maybe the actual climb for us might actually start beginning next week at some point in the middle of the week and maybe in the beginning of the week. Um, Now, what I'm seeing here is on GME. This is a puff for everyone. On GME, they are, yep, they're gonna hold it under 100. Yeah, in my opinion, it's gonna be held under 100 tomorrow. In fact, I'm very, again, I'm not a financial advisor, but definitely my opinion for sure is gonna be under 100 tomorrow. Um, they put the cap. I can see it here on top, according to AB logic, for whatever that is worth. Um, yeah, where else do I see? Oh, holy moly! Yeah, it looks like it's gonna be. There's a possibility they might drop it back under 90. Possibility, but since it starts dropping from 100, that's where I feel like I seen the cap on it that they put. If it drops from 100, once it gets to 97, 98, 97, 96, I would say that $90 put calls will go into the money as well. Like even though they're out of the money still strike wise, but because there's still extrinsic value, um, as far as if somebody got those contracts for a week out or 2 weeks out, then they will be in the money and then they could sell those out. Now, here's the thing: if they were all expiring tomorrow, then that's the only possibility where I see them. Yeah, like so the worst case scenario, it goes under 90 tomorrow again, which means it loses 8 to 9, 10% in one trading session that it gained yesterday and today. Uh, I don't see it going further than that. All those were sold today. Yeah. Um, the worst case scenario goes back to 89, 88. Um, which is exotic for GME. Um, Best case scenario, as I can see here, is that it dabbles anywhere between 99, 96, 99, and as long as it just basically stays under 100. That's what I see right here for GME. So nothing too crazy unless the worst case scenario happens with it. At the end of the day, you got to have those two outcomes because you don't know the behavior of the other side. Like they could lay out all the clues for you right there, but their plan could be something different, and they don't have to leave it in numbers. It could just be all over the options chain, and you don't know which one they're going to execute. Like they could go for the first one, and then they don't have to go for that $90 strike price. They could easily just sell the $90 strike price calls or puts, and because they're in the profit, they don't need for the price to go that far. So if you're preparing or your strategy is set on $90 or less, you could have a problem if their plan is just to make the money from 100 to 95 or 96 and then bring the stock right back up. You get a blue the rater on the $90 puts, or 94 or 93 or 92 for that matter. So AMC, what do I see happening? First of all, do anybody else have questions in here? We got a good amount. We got 20 people in here and 21 people now, and that's weird. No questions today. Everybody is interested in what AB is saying right now. So I'll give you guys go ahead 5 seconds to see if you have any questions so far before I carry along with a different topic, which is going to be AMC. Today is, guys, the day that you all basically, Mr. Frankie Muhammad, how are you doing, brother? Assalamu alaikum. And do you think the price will go down next week? As far as for AMC, I don't see that, or GME. Personally speaking here, and this is just an opinion, not financial advice, I think that next week is going to be the beginning, at some point next week, is going to be the beginning roots of the beauty that we're supposed to expect. With that being said, remember, guys, June 3rd is really the catalyst of all catalysts, in my opinion. Here's why I mean June 3rd, because of that executive order. One, if it gets postponed again, if the president postpones that executive order, then you guys need to expect a can kick down the road. And that's with a grain of salt. I'm saying that with a grain of salt. If he postpones that, if he doesn't postpone it, you guys are going to be, like Leah is saying down here, going to be so effing excited. So effing excited. Life is going to, is like, imagine that auto insurance commercial, like life comes at you fast, but this is going to be in a good way. Life comes at you real fast. And Nickel, how's it going, brother? You're quite knowledgeable on many topics. Talk away, please. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. That's too kind of you, and appreciate the compliment. I don't see them extending it because USA doesn't like China. Look at Biden. He doesn't like China. I don't see him doing that for his enemy. And here's the thing, Big B, I see that politically. I see that. Here's the thing, you know, money talks and BS walks. We all know that that statement, right? The problem under the hood in this vehicle of AMC or GME or any of these meme stocks, we'll call it the meme stock vehicle, is if you choose to pop the trunk, I don't think you can close it back up. You're going to have to drive that vehicle with that trunk open, basically. And if you get what I'm trying to get to, or what I'm trying to say to you here, that means they're gonna, I don't know, like personally, I don't even see how they can get out of managing this. Like, how can they even manage this? Because as I mentioned before, we have They've been patching every part or corner of this house together. If this was a house, they were patching every corner together, taping it all together. And now, under the circumstances of having the right amount of wind or the perfect storm, let's just say that, everything is going to collapse. Like, even if they hold one pole up and they hold another, at the end of the day, what are they like? How many are they going to be able to hold? They can't hold the whole structure together. So it's impossible to see how they even get out of this and how terrible this is. Like, they definitely are looking 10 and 15 years ahead down the line, I think, so that they can recover from this. They are literally looking down. If they can't, and I don't see how they can manage this, they're looking, their solution is at least 5, 10, 12, maybe 20 years down the line, similar to 2008 when they bailed out those entities. They didn't bail them out and give them free money. A lot of people are confused on this particular topic here. They didn't give them bailout. Doesn't mean they gave them free money. The government wants to make its money as well. You remember that. They gave them uh, so much money, obviously, to bail out, because some are obviously too big to fail. And I understand they will not let market maker, you guys know my stance on what I've said before as far as the companies. And I know a lot of people want to see the end of Citadel and many other companies. But I'll tell you this, I told you before, I laid out many reasons to you to show you or to tell you why that is not a possibility for them, because the market maker is going to be in the crypto realm. Um, he's to be protected, and his involvement in almost every play out there, he's going to come out fine, even if he gets mangled in so many different other meme stocks, not just even AMC or GME, because truthfully, they'll pay whatever, but then the government or the feds are going to step in to print a lot of stuff to bail this out. There is no way that somebody has enough money to just cover this on their own. And the big confusion is people thought that when the government bailed these institutions out in 2008, that this was handed out to them as free money, and it was not. It really wasn't. They were basically having to pay that back. So they got the money to take care of what needs to be taken care of. They got bailed out, but they also had to pay that over the next 5, 10, 6, 7, 8 years. And I feel like that's something that that's how, along those lines, that's where the government is planning on this one, in between collecting taxes on us, raising taxes on us, so that they can make a lot of capital gains, make a lot of that tax money back. Basically, a lot of that money that they're going to give out, they're going to make it back in tax. And if not, over the years that are coming, they will have all that money back. And sorry, let me just turn this off because I'm getting these invitations to soccer and AB is still injured. And on top of that, they will also get money from these institutes that they're going to bail out, and they will basically hold them down this way. This way, hey, we're all in the dirt. You were dirty. I bailed you out. Now you pay the dirt back to me, but you owe me until you're done. And by the next time you're off the hook, by the time all this is done, we're going to be ready for another, which will be like 10, 12, 13 years down the line. We'll be up to do this again. This is exactly why I said that there is, for those people, and I'm not trying to discourage anyone here because AB is far away from that. For those people that have always been thinking and saying that we're going to stop this madness, this is never going to happen again. I really admire your courage and your drive and your principle, but this is so much bigger than one person or any of us. This is the way of life for this entity that controls that aspect of things, which is the way that the government wants to roll and how it happens. This is why you always have that saying that every 12 to 15 years you're going to have a recession. It's because the same thing after resets is done again. and again, and then it resets, it starts up, it moves up as everything, and then obviously since the structure from the bottom up is all shaky, 10, 12, 13, 15 years down the line, all that whole structure comes barreling down on top of everything, and they have already anticipated that. So therefore, ultimately, the main loser is always the same. The government doesn't lose because at the end of the day, it taxes its way out, and the government is from the people. These hedge funds, maybe some employees, some hedge funds will close. Who really loses here? Employees. The CEOs, they're off. Like look at Gabe, that Melvin guy. I mean, the guy had the audacity to even ask for fees like 50. I think it was like 50. I think Tony Denaro had an amazing video yesterday I seen, and it was so funny too. He's like he asked his investors to pay like 50% or 53% performance fees and stuff like that, and it's like performance fees. You're you lost all like you lost our money and you liquid billions of dollars, and you want performance fees? Like I need to like they probably answered him with, we rather give our money from now on to AB Investments than to give it to you, and he will charge us less performance fees. But we trust him. At least he didn't lose billions of dollars as of yet. Hopefully never. Um, so so that's the ultimate idea for you guys is that don't think, if you want to really see what's happening to the maximum, understand the real full picture, see where these guys are sitting and what they're operating and how they operate like and how they think like. They think 10, 15 years down the line. And this, as big as it is for us, for retail, for them it's normal. It was anticipated. It was anticipated. And I will throw this out. It was probably anticipated about 10 years ago. They know this. They knew this. It was coming. But when you look at the end, when it's all said and done, how much have they made in this past 15 years and how much did they give out? Again, for them, it's like, how much did I get? How much? Same thing as business. It's retail. It cost, this item cost me this much. And this is how much I sold it for. The middle between this much and this much is my profit. And that's how they take it. That's how they think of it. If they need to adjust and make those profit margins 100%, they'll up the tax here, up the tax there, do a little bit of here, cut some forces there. Next thing you know, whatever measured expected amount comes out to be perfect, picture perfect for them. What I'm telling you here is not that you're helpless. No, I'm telling you to seize the moment, and I'm telling you what my point is here: to seize the moment and take advantage of what's in front of you and what you can control, because there's obviously a lot of things that are beyond your control. I can mention many. Like you can work so hard, but you cannot control the outcome of your hard work. You can study so hard for something, and after the test, you can't control whether you get an A or a B or a C or an F or a D, whatever. What you can control is the most important part. That's my point to you guys. Control what you can, and what you can't, leave that to the forces that are above, or whatever higher power you believe in. But do what you can control. Have your hands on top of whatever you can control. Going after changing the structure of the government and all that stuff and all that crazy stuff, I'll tell you this, guys. The stock market is not where you change the government. I'm just saying this to the ones that are really trying to change the structure of everything and all that stuff. The way that you do that is you go to a different place. You go to rallies, you try to get elected, get famous, become part of Congress, and sky's the limit from there based on whether you get bought out or not. That's just the name of the game. So as far as AMC now, back to AMC. Before I read that, actually, let me see some of the comments. AMC to the moon, watching bbig from the sidelines. Hope for the best for you, AB. Thank you, folks. Appreciate it. Likewise. Love all your work you do, Frankie. You are a gem, brother. Yes, likewise, Frankie. If you're still around, I like your work, brother. How do we know this recession will be so much worse than 2008? Oh, okay. That's a good one, Miki. I had to take that one for you guys. So the reason why you would know that this is so much worse is because one, in 2008 we did not have a shutdown in the market like what happened in 2020 for the virus, right? That's the first time ever where the country or the machine of the stock market or the economy was turned off, which does not have an off and on button. That's the first time ever since the coexistence of the stock market that it got shut, like off for months. And the economy, I mean, in this case. So since that got shut, we opened back up, and the opposite of what needed to happen happened. Everything surged, which again, 0 cents, but the feds propped it up, right? That's one major thing, because basically what happened is a lot of snow covered it, the ground. Like imagine a deep hole and it got covered with snow. You're not from the area and you're walking by, and suddenly you walk on top of the snow and you whoop, and you're like, whoa, this is even much deeper than you even thought. Like it could go really deep. And what happened after the markets opened from the pandemic, is they basically put a lot of snow all over so that they could cover all these holes that got created. That didn't happen in 2008. It was the same thing. All these restructured, put together, uh, CDOs of whether stocks, naked shorts, naked synthetic shares, and all that stuff. All that stuff was repackaged, and that's just in the stock market. Let's go look at other stuff. What they were doing, like borrowing money from central banks from BS collateral, obviously in China, whether it be it Evergrande or other projects. All the lost money on Russian-based stocks that major companies, because not just retail hurt on that, and most retail is safe from that because majority of retail is in some sort of meme stock movement or a blue chip stock, but not so many are in SB. What's that bank? The Russian central bank, SB SBRCY. Let me see. Yes, I was correct. Hey, I need to get a Scooby snack for that. SBRCY is obviously the Russian bank that until now is suspended from trading. Do you know how many institutes are invested in that? Many. So retail is not exposed to that kind of worthless collateral. We're not. None of us is invested, or at least very low percentage of us is invested in these worthless stocks now. To be, and the Evergrande stock, we're not invested in that, so that's not worthless on us. It's worthless on them. That wasn't the case in 2008 as well. So that's just more. 2008 was all nothing but repackaged mortgage-backed securities and CDOs, sold over and over, collateral sold over and over and over to someone until basically it couldn't be resold again, and everything hit the wall. It collapsed, and it reached the bottom, and then it started moving back up. It wasn't fully dealt with, but they were just continuing. It's like kind of like the bike was moving and the pedal got broken, so they fixed the pedal, and they just kept moving again. They didn't do anything to the bike. From that accident, the bike could have, suffered some sort of other cosmetic issues, or something else could have broken, but they just fixed the pedal to keep the bike moving. And now the bike is crashing. Not just a pedal is breaking, bike is crashing at this very own time now. because you have so many other things, so many other problems and catalysts that we have, and not just catalysts, but like catastrophes for this recession. As you said, why is this going to be worse than 2008? Because the catastrophes are the same. Look at the mortgage loans that we are. What is it like? It's in the trillions. I know that we are not that it's all now people are defaulting on, which they will. You'll see now next month, and by August, September, as I told you guys before, September, October, we're going to be seeing the reality of what life is going to be like in the next few years. You'll see, my friends. And I wasn't saying that yesterday or last week. I was saying that few months back. With other stuff like what happened with Evergrande, I was saying this for over 2 years since the crash happened or the shutdown. But my anticipation for it got even worse as more events happened, like the whole Russia situation. That made this whole thing worse. That added more gasoline to the fire. Evergrande and our Chinese politics added even way more fuel. Now, the fact that we're trying to change to this digital dollar, and you see the wars that are happening, and we're going to talk now about some cool things that are happening in the background. I warned you about before. Good warning, and it's happening. And you guys will remember now. The OGs in here will remember. And all that stuff just added more fuel to the fire here, Mickey. And or are you is it Mickey or Mikey? And with that being said, all these things being said, add on top of that the same thing that was happening in 2018 or 2008. Sorry, what was happening in 2008? As I mentioned, the repackaging and reselling over and over again. The same thing is also happening now. And you also have student debt that they're talking about they want to pay off. Biden is going to talk to a Democratic senator as we speak in today or tomorrow about it. And I hope, here's my feeling. None of that shit is going to happen. But I surely do hope that it does happen for the sake of the students out there that have to pay these loans. But my opinion, that's not going to happen. Now, as far as, and that's the question, that's the answer. Hopefully that answers it, Mickey. And then look on the inverse of the yields. And I mentioned this, I think, a few weeks ago or last month. It's very spot on and way more violent than the Great Depression back in the early 1900s yield curve as well. We're very similar to it, but even way more exotic. The setup is way worse. So we're looking at, in 2008, this structure that we saw, and even like on a technical analysis base point. Now, all the stuff I gave you before that, the yield curve, all that stuff was just the reality and why will be much worse, like many things. Now, on a technical basis where you need charts, so I'm giving you two answers here. On the technical basis, you also have the curve yield that is exactly or similar to the Great Depression, great curve yield, and it's even a little bit worse. Now, let me see if I can share something in the comments section for you guys to dabble with, have fun with. I'm trying to search a link that can send you straight, guys, if you want to, and some of you that wanted to look at the The yield curve. Um, I can't like I don't want to keep you guys like this waiting, but you could definitely guys go ahead and just look it up on Google. You'll find it. Like look the current, uh, you know, yield curve, and you can see that it got inverted back in April, which I remember reporting to you guys on that. And normally when that happens, it signals for a market crash, wide recession, either in within the next 6 months to up to 2 years. Like it's not like normally whenever you see an inverted yield curve, normally you would expect between 6 months to 2 years a recession to happen, and it was never wrong ever before. And obviously, in this case, I don't think it's going to be wrong as well. Only thing I see is that we will definitely see this in a faster time frame within the 6 months time frame than to wait for 2 years before it comes. I think it's going to be like that. Now, as far as 2 years from now, I think that we're going to be just everybody's going to be living in that reality. But the shock and of it beginning, I think, is going to happen sometime in the end of this year before the holidays. It's going to be very red holidays for sure, unfortunately. Um, but this is life. You again, you remember what I said before? Seize the moment, guys, and cover your bases and prepare for tomorrow. Don't go with life as it comes at you. You know, uh, cover your bases as far as for that. Now, as far as your day to day life, yes, take life as it whatever it brings. Whatever you can control, seize the moment. Whatever you can't control is beyond your hands. So let that go. Don't dabble or fight with that. Fight with what you can control. But what you can't control, leave it to the forces above or to Mother Nature to take care of, to take its her course, or its course in this case. Um, let's see. One final thing we're gonna talk about, that cool stuff that I was telling you guys about with Elon Musk and stuff. Let me look at the. I need this thing to get previous highs soon. The UK tax man is after me. Radwan, uh, wait to see the tax man in a few months. Many countries do not associate with us anymore. That's one of them. And smash the like button. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Yes, many countries definitely do not associate with us. And that's simply because, one, there's two things. One, well, many countries hate us just because we are controlling everything around the world. Let's just face it. And the other side, or the other part that hate us, is because they are aiming for the top dog. So there's two type. There's the ones that are controlled by us, and they hate us because of that. And there's the ones that are not controlled by us, but they're aiming for the crown and for the throne that we're sitting on. And I'm pretty sure you guys can imagine which one fits in what category here. You can make your own imagination on that one, and you can see what's happening. I seen Boss Blunt's video the other day, at least some part of it, and I seen what the part where he was talking about the Chinese military and what they were doing and all that stuff. Um, this similar activity to that, if I go back in history, I know World War I and World War II history like the back of my hand. I studied it so much on my own. And this is what China is doing right now is Japan all over again. And that's what scares me here. Okay. Let me rephrase my words again. What China is doing right now is Japan all over again. What Russia is doing right now is World War II all over again. Same exact things. Russia began in World War One. It took its army and started coming over. The bear wanted to come in and take some parts of Europe, obviously, which included Ukraine and some other countries in the past. And then that's when the you know, the Germans did what they had to do, or what they did. And, you know, the Ottomans, Hungary, or at the time it was Hungary and Austria, uh, they joined those three against the Allies. Everyone, World War I ends. Germany gets the knee on its neck, and ultimately that gave the birth to the Third Reich. And the Third Reich basically said, you know what, you know who comes from that Reich, and you know what these guys and what they did. They started expanding, and that's when he went all the way almost as far as to Moscow. But that was his biggest mistake, because all his troops were tired and frozen, and eventually all they needed to do, the Russians needed to do, is come in and put the final touch. But it took more than that. It was many allies against, uh, obviously, Germany, and deservedly so, of course, which gave birth to the Battle of Normandy and all that stuff. And you, if some of you historians in here know that, and I don't need to dive into that because all those could have their own story, like the Battle of Normandy, what it was, Eisenhower, you know, the President Eisenhower, which was a general, the great general back then, having his reputation was born on that battle for the most part. Um, and with him, as he passed away, he had access to certain scientists, that actually the same scientists that after the end of that, when they ended Germany, it was time to look at Japan. So what Japan was doing on that side is it had this treaty with Russia. It said that, hey, you will never attack me. I just want to have a truth with you. We're not friends. We're not going to attack each other. But that's the moral of it, is that we're going to have borders, and we're not going to, you're not attacking me and I'm not going to attack you. The Russians said, okay, no problem. Japan was constantly going into China and all these neighboring countries, and it was massacring people. I mean, if you think right now that Taiwan is the prize for China, remember when I told you, know your history, guys, so you can know the future, and you can know at least your present, and what you're going through right now. Um, I personally think that China is out for great revenge from back then, because millions of Chinese people were murdered and raped on the hands of the Japanese forces. And at that time, that's when we also had to deal with Pearl Harbor, the first ever attack on somewhat American soil, because to Japan, it was much closer to Hawaii, and from that area, um, than we could think of. In fact, a lot of Russian submarines, a lot of Chinese submarines are off the coast of California. There was like about 6, 8 months ago, there was a place where I saw on the news where there is some of those things, but we're not paying attention to that stuff. You know, they're doing some drills out there and all that stuff. Um, so what China is doing right now, in my humble opinion, is the same thing that Japan was doing back then, when they were basically the leaders of AI and all that stuff. And they still is. Japan is, in my opinion, arguably the number one source of AI in the world. Search into it and you can come to that realization on your own, which is pretty scary. The things you will come up with is very scary. The thing is, Japan is in no way or form or shape of competing with a force like China now. And China, of course, one thing I got out of Boss Blunt's video is that they're trying to get the American phase or existence in that realm, in that area. They want to remove them from power from that area, because after World War II, we set up bases everywhere. Obviously, we got into Japan and we stripped it off of everything. Same thing was done with Germany. They're like, they put allocations on each country because, they did a lot of war crimes and a lot of stuff. So they put on them like, hey, your army can't grow beyond this level. They did that on Germany, but recently Germany went over that again. Yeah, again, why was World War II? Why did World War II happen when just 20 years or 12 years, 15 years before that, World War I happened? you know, you would think that one war, like world war, not just a war between one or two countries, a world war, you would think that it won't happen ever again, um, because that's it. Like, this is a world war. Like, in these situations, you're not talking about casualties, you're talking about catastrophes on an insane human uh, extension level almost. Because all it takes now, and like there's no space for World War III. I could just tell you that, guys, and that's what I fear the most, is because with the technology and the weaponry that coexists out there now, mankind have the tool. Mankind have created their own casket, and I'm pretty sure they didn't know or didn't expect it to go down like that. They all, you know how they created it for self-defense or to take over somebody else, but they never thought that it could be all. If everybody said F this, all of them says F this, or everybody goes at war with each other, they all have enough weaponry to take care of all human civilization. And that's the scary part here. I know that's besides the stock market and everything, but you know, we live in this world. The stock market isn't everything, right? And what China and Russia are doing is exactly same things that started world wars before. The same steps exactly. So if I was looking at the Great Depression in the stock market and looking at the curve yield being inverted or not, and I'm looking at the technical analysis on charts, and I'm looking for patterns that are the same on a political level, I'm looking at the same patterns that created World War One and World War Two. Now it's just one new country involved, which is China, because back then China had no say in any of this stuff. It was in fact, it was more like the victim in those wars back then than anything. It wasn't any participant. It didn't even have anything. I mean, their rise to this level of power is I don't want to say impressive, because obviously that's I'm not they're out there to try to get my people, their governments. I love all people in the world. On a political level, um, you know, I'm an American, so therefore, it is what it is. I have to get my people's backs, and I, here's the pill that can be swallowed, but has to be swallowed. No matter how much corrupt you think your government is, at least this world that we live in today is a much better world than a destruct a completely distraught and corrupt and completely destroyed planet. So whatever that is worth, take it for that. But as far as what I'm saying here, go ahead, do some history research. Look at both wars, World War One, World War Two. Listen to some beautiful documentaries from an authentic, obviously, source, and see, compare after you gain that knowledge, compare those events to what's happening now and see if anything falls in place. Personally, for me, almost every piece of puzzle fell right into uh, in place, unfortunately. And that is, my ladies and gentlemen, what I'm afraid of the most after, you know, MOAS and all that stuff. Um, let's see what happens with crypto, and let's see what happens with the digital currency, because it will play a big role. Now we're going to talk about the Elon Musk and the few cool things. Sorry for the history lesson or the history talk. It could go more. I can go more and more and more, but I'll stop it there. I know, guys, not all of you like to hear this kind of stuff. So let me read some of the comments, and then we can talk about the cool stuff. John Wick is going to get Christopher Santos. Welcome to the chat, brother. John Wick is going to get people to sell early. I watch his videos to see what he's saying, and I think he's doing damage. He's saying government will never let squeeze happen. Christopher Santos, I've covered this before a few times about creators like John. Um, I don't have anything against any person, not just John Wick or anybody else, but I've made it very clear: the people that talk like this are the people that are talking out of the back of their head because they're just thinking about it, but without any components. Like, if I'm gonna create like 1 + 1 Excuse me, guys, just one moment. Give me one. Sorry, guys, I'm back. I had to take care of somebody was knocking on my door, and it was a gentleman who unfortunately was racing someone else, and his I think radiator broke down. He needed some water, so I have an outside sink that I water the plants with, and the mints. I have a mint garden outside. You guys seen it before, and he's filling it. That's the least I could do for him for now. I told him I got to give back to my life, to my people, and hopefully that can move his vehicle until he can get. Uh, you know what? I should have given him a couple of other gallons of my own so that that could take care of him on the road. Um, anyways, we're here now. My brother is dealing with him. So as I was saying, sorry again, guys, for the cutoff. Uh, where did I leave off at? Oh, reading the comments. So yes, John Wick. So when creators that have no knowledge in the stock market, as far as stock work and how the market operates, again, this is not an insult or a dig at anyone or at John, of course. Um, but here's the problem. Christopher, he makes these content, and when you view it, that counts on his viewship on per video. And if he views it, if you view it and others like you view it as well, just to see what he's saying, that means to a certain extent, you guys take whatever he's saying to a certain extent, whatever that may be, to the bank. You take straight what he's saying, you take it straight to the bank. And that's a big issue. That's a big problem that's on you guys, not on him. He says what he says. No one can tell him what he can say and what he can't say. Uh, but to listen to him, that's your choice. And the others. So clearly, when people are viewing him, that means they take whatever, to a certain extent, whatever that may be, you take whatever he's saying straight to the bank. Or some people just get entertained by it. So they just watch him just so they get entertained. But Christopher and others, if you have the same question, whoever you guys may be out there as well, if you listen to someone and if you know yourself the components or the basics and the makeup of the market, you know that that stuff makes zero sense. The government will not let, for example, the squeeze happen. Millions of people could say that. I can make that statement, but can you back it up? Why? With what? Not don't give me hypothetical answers as in nobody could cover this. There's not enough money out there. How would they pay this? That's hypothetical answers. No one, like, it's a hit and miss. It's a 50-50 answer. It's not an educated answer. So, how can the government stop this or not let this happen? They can't. They can't. This is all tied up to a lot of money. If they don't let it happen, that means they give the middle finger to many people. And by giving the middle finger to many people, I'm saying kicking the can down the road. But eventually, this will be dealt with no matter what. No matter what, they will face this Armageddon situation, in my humble opinion. Now, by giving the people the middle finger, is not to screw them over completely on this play, but to keep this play down the can, like as a can down the road. And there is educated answers on how that could happen, as one and simply by one postponing this executive order on June 3rd. Anything other than that, there's no educated answer on that. That's just hyper thinking or probable thinking. And probable thinking have no existence in the stock market and me in AB's world. You have to have an educated answer or solution to something in order for me to dabble with it in my head and make some sense out of it and work off of it. But I can't have what if or maybes and build a structure or an idea based on that, because that easily crumbles after that. And then you fall all the way far down to the point where you don't know where to build from once again. Right? And again, Christopher, I'm not obviously taking anything out on you or anything. I'm not angry for any reason. I know I'm touching it like this because it's emotional and it's very critical, especially in these times that we're in. You guys have to definitely either block out that noise, and you have the choice not to listen to something like this. And you have to make a decision on, do you think, like, because again, your mind is your sanctuary. What you allow to come in is what is going to make that sanctuary either a beautiful haven, or it's going to be destroyed from inside, and it's going to look like hell, fires everywhere, and all that stuff, because you're the gatekeeper here. You're the person who control what you let in and what you don't let in. And when you listen to people, you have to make that decision. Are you going to listen to people that know what they're talking about or not? And what I mean by know what they're talking about, this doesn't necessarily need to be what you want to hear. Don't confuse that, guys. No, I would entertain somebody who have a case against AMC when they say stuff that's educational or based on some education, which is, like I said, if someone was to come out and say the government is not going to let the squeeze happen because I believe on June 3rd the president is going to postpone this order, this executive order, based on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever the case may be, but give me some reasons. If those reasons make sense, I would at least entertain that idea. That's work, that's education, and you just got my respect right there. But if you come out and say the government is never going to let this happen, what do you think? You think this is like going to the store, picking up some tomatoes and cucumbers? You know what that tells me? This person is just trying to get some views, have no absolute idea or reason. They know that AMC comes in, and when you talk about AMC, doesn't matter what way you talk about AMC, you're going to get some viewership. And eventually, the people or the weak mindsets and the less educated as well will definitely feed off of that nonsense. Because again, let's read it again. He's going to get people to sell early. I watch his videos to see what he's saying, and I think he's doing damage. He's saying government will never let squeeze happen. Based on what? You see what I'm saying, guys? Based on what? BS reasons. You, again, control who views him. It's beyond me right now. That you still, there's some channels out there that I see of. It's beyond me how they still get views, like how people view it. It must be for some other reason besides stock reasoning. It has to be for entertainment purposes for real, uh, because it makes no sense. Some of those channels are nothing but a reaction and some dog in the background, or a car driving or some shit, and the scenery in the background, and just some accusations. That's it, but nothing that backs up these theories. So hopefully that wraps that up. You guys choose again. You choose. If he's gonna do damage, he's not gonna do damage to me or to the community. Take it from me. I'll tell you that, Christopher. Even if he has 6,000 followers and all 6,000 of them are watching all his videos, and all 6,000 follow what he say, only those 6,000 are gonna get hurt. Trust me, bro. Only those 6,000 are gonna get hurt, because you know how many shares are in this? You know how many floats are in this? You know how much covering that needs to be done for this? Who will get out early? Those 6,000? Who will regret getting out that early? Those 6,000. Who are they going to go cry to? John? What is going to happen? Be happy. At least you got some money. Mickey J says, oh, Mikey. Okay. Mikey J. Somebody else has your name too. Mikey Williams is a high school basketball phenom right now. I watch him sometimes, and he's a good player too. Check him out, Mikey Williams. AB's catchphrase, seize the moment. Yes. Thank you. John Wick and Zayn are donuts. Radwan. Brendan and Ella's Fun Adventures. AB, and welcome. Where am I at? Oh, right there. Hello, AB and everyone. Gloria Medina, how are you, sis? Always beautiful to have you in here. I care, Mikey. Radwan, AB is right. Don't feel sorry for the government. In the UK, after the 2008 crash, the government bailed out the banks, and we suffered 12 years of austerity. And that is true, guys. Like, they might build, like I said, they will build them out, but the machine, the very same flawed machine, will be restarted again. It resets, it breaks down, crash, recession, and it rebuilds again. Hype, blow, and inflate down. Blow, pop it up. It's like a balloon. It blows, and at a certain point, the smallest thing could get it to pop. And they make their money by raising taxes. They make their money by the taxes they get back, or the interest rates that they get back from the bailouts. And when they get the money they bailed out these people with, ultimately, who really took the main loss here? The common citizen. The common citizen pays tax, deals with the higher inflation and recession, that his wealth basically is sucked out, whatever wealth he has, even if it's his last penny. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the exact wording for wealth transfer. But instead of being the wealth transferring from up there to down here, the wealth is being siphoned and transferred from the middle and the bottom all the way up, like souls being sucked out over time. And eventually you will begin to see that the middle have no ground, and the gaps start falling. And eventually you'll have a very high level and a very low level. In other words, lower class, much higher class, no middle class, which is vanquishing as we speak, obviously, day by day, year by year. It is getting vanquished. And eventually, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to be left with a product where the ultimate, what whoever it is out there that's doing this, I'm not going to throw any allegations on a particular party. So whoever is behind this, they're going to get the ultimate reward after that. Evil reward, that is control. When everyone, see, the middle class is the reason for the middle class being attacked is because the middle class is between this and this. They could side with this and they could side with that. The problem is, whenever up here wants to control down here, the middle, they have to go through this here. So they got to take this out of the way so that this can be controlled fully 100% in the bottom. And that up there can live like kings and queens, emperors, and all have all the luxuries that this world has to offer, um, while riding the backs of people like us, the lower class. So what will happen from this squeeze, when this squeeze takes place, guys, is a lot of us are going to join the upper class. A lot of us going to join the lower class. The thing is, there's also a lot of us that will join a classroom or a place in this school of life that's in the middle. But the targeted place or the targeted crowd here is the middle. So that's why you have to be careful after the squeeze with whatever money you make. You have to be really careful and strategic with what you do with it, because you are the person that they're attacking. Your bracketology in life is what is being under attack. And once you get attacked in those times after the squeeze, it's up to you at that point to know what is happening, because obviously inflation levels are going to go crazier, recession, everything's going to go more expensive. Your dollar with you loses its value by nature, because again, when you pay the dollar for a McChicken, there's going to be a time coming where you pay $2 for a McChicken, making your dollar slash its value or its buying powers got slashed in half due to life. Hopefully that made all that stuff, all that rant and all that stuff made any sense to you guys. But it's the point of it is to get you guys to broaden out your thoughts, your imaginations, and dabble with some thoughts back and forth to see. It could give you, like, my intent obviously is to try to protect myself and all you guys from whatever could cause or shape to be a danger for any of us in the foreseeable future. And this is what makes this community very valuable to me specifically, is that all of you guys also have very valid, not only advice, but amazing input and valuable points that when we all put them together, we're going to come up with something that the other side or any other community wishes that it has. I treasure this a lot, guys. So, Mickey J, did you share that link? Assuming that's the link for that. So, thank you. Thank you, sir. And Pabloco paperclip. Yeah, the history behind our anatomy data from Japan. Yes. China also, yeah, as far as the ogres, yes. Watch now, they're going to clip my stream as soon as I said this. Um, but it's all about saying the truth, guys, right? I don't care who satisfies or who that dissatisfies. The truth is the truth. Whoever gets dissatisfied from the truth is the problem from the beginning. It's not who shares the truth or what the truth is. It's about who has an issue with the truth. That's why China has always been offensive, and why Japan is peaceful. As far as now, yes, they're peaceful. Japan is because one, they've been. I mean, after they lost the war, um, when the president, um, dropped the first, you know, on Hiroshima. Was it the first one on Hiroshima or Nagasaki? The smaller, there's a small boy and big boy. You know, one is plutonium and one is uranium. So I think the first one was in Hiroshima. And when that first one, that obviously mankind have never seen anything like that happen before, did what it did, it was so crazy for Japan. At that time, they had an emperor, and their emperor never spoke. So when they heard his voice in the intercoms, when he came to make a speech about him, he's going to make a surrender because after that bomb, all the people, there was many people that even went and killed themselves, Japanese citizens. They have this culture where the emperor is their god, basically, at that time. And that principles were so high and important to them. So they took literally this up on themselves, that they shamed their emperor and their government. When the American forces were coming, because Japan is technically an island, technically, it's all surrounded by water from everywhere, one big island. When the American forces were landing and coming up on the surface, there was many people, including kids, Japanese kids, that were running towards these American soldiers, basically, and American and other allied forces, with explosives, like suicidal stuff, like some crazy shit. They would lay down on the ground with the explosive to make sure that it's there so the tanks can't, and everything goes away. I mean, it was pretty gruesome and dark part, a time of our humankind history, right? Um, but when that, like, Japan obviously couldn't call the bluff of the US at the time, because US only had those two big bad boys, and they were very bad boys, obviously. But when they dropped two, if Japan continued, again, the word if, continued to fight, we don't know the outcome. The outcome could be different in those wars. But the fact that obviously after the first one, I mean, what are you to do? I mean, God forbid, if I was a leader of a country and this happened to my country, and you see like one bomb just like vaporize hundreds of thousands of people in a matter of minutes. I mean, it was so bad that when it hits, all the people, they're like, because they got vaporized instantly, like you got basically burned inside out and exploded, basically. They're like, wherever the scene that happened, their shadow got, because it's kind of like an x-ray machine from the exposure to the explosive. Like if they were next to a wall, or if they're on the ground, their shadow, like their figure drawn shadow of them, like for example this, is left behind on the walls, on the roads. I mean, it was horrific. um and when the first one dropped, that's when their emperor came out and instantly spoke to his people and said, hey, 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 we're gonna surrender, blah blah blah, all this stuff. Instantly picks up the phone, calls the Russians and says, hey, I know that, we have a treaty together. You're not going to come attack me, and I don't come attack you. I'm wondering if that's still intact and all that stuff. It should be intact, but we want you to speak to the Americans and please tell them we surrender. You know what the Russians did? The Russians went ahead, sent that out to the Americans, but in the same time, they left their war, what was going on, like all their interests that was going on out to the east towards Germany and all that other shit over there. They went straight into China and Japan. They went in. They literally said, F your treaty. Um, and there's still allegations. So I'm not going to say 100%. There's still allegations on it that the Americans were given that wish from that Japanese emperor back then, before the drop of the second, which came a day later, on Nagasaki. And that one was the bigger one and the worst one. And I think at that time, American officials were saying that they were not interested in uh, doing this because they wanted to, they basically wanted Japan to use it as an example to make for the rest of the world. As politics for you, there's no space for humanity in the political world, unfortunately. Uh, but that's how it went down. Second one drops, millions of people were dead, and it took 6 months for the nuclear exposure that the millions that also didn't die got exposed to nuclear, uh, you know, exposure. And eventually, 6 months later, the U.S. sent scientists over there, and the Japanese were thinking that it was going to be a relief expedition. Instead, they sent scientists to see the effect on the patients. And I'm not laughing at this because this is sad, absolutely sad on the highest levels. But this was the ultimate disrespect, ultimately, after all that. When they sent scientists, they thought that the Japanese thought that they were coming to heal or take care of people. Instead, these were evaluators, scientists that came in to see the damage, really, like, so this can do this to you. And after 6 months, they basically were using the people as guinea pigs in a nutshell. Um, our history, guys, is not beautiful. Our history is way far from beautiful. And it's sad that we are the only species on this planet that does this. You do not see uh, other species doing this and destroying basically Earth. We are the ones that are destroying Earth. Yes, whether it's global warming or testing nuclear tests in the oceans and pollution and all that stuff, and then destroying each other, killing each other, all for somebody's or some people's certain agendas. Um, Whoever made these groups or these people are, that's your answer to come up with, or your opinion to come up with. Um, but know that this and the truth is out there. And know how that sounded like X Files all of a sudden now. Let's see. Where are we at here? Um, Sorry for more history, guys, but it's important that we know all this stuff. Well, besides the market. Um, Wick should only give advice on how to walk dogs. Bob Loco. I mean, I want some of those advices. Uh, that would be fun. I like the history lesson. It's good to learn. I have been learning everything that happens in the world has to do with the stock market. It's all in tuned. Yes, Christopher, you're correct. There, it's all connected. Uh, the one piece that we're not connecting is the other side, or the government or the institutional side. They think many years down the line versus us. We think right now and what this causes for tomorrow, which is, I mean, it's normal because we're retail. We're not thinking of institutional size, and we're not like a combined force. Um, Unlike investing together all in AMC or GME or meme stocks, that's the only force that we are. Otherwise, we're all masses that are, scattered all over the world. And that's why the upper class is all one unit, and it dominates and controls the lower class. Um, Only way, obviously, for that to change is for the balances and the scales to be tipped. And if this majority of this money transfers over to here, now the balances, the forces just got tipped, and um, mankind history is going to be different from that moment on, because the powers would shift at that point. And if the people that get, like I said, remember, the people from here and here, wherever bracket they get moved to after the squeeze, they have to be very, very precise and strategic with what they do so that they can either maintain themselves here in the middle or possibly go up and leave a ladder behind for people to climb up on, because the upper class made sure that they threw all the ladders down. This is why when people like Bezos or Warren Buffett throw out advice saying, oh, save money. Like when Buffett says, um, I work, like my advice for you is to work, and save along the way. And by the time you retire, you will have $500,000. Well, my friend, that if that was the way, why are you one of the richest people in the world? Because clearly you have way more money than 500,000 or a 401k or whatever the case may be. When these people, my point to you guys is these people have possibly have climbed up many ladders to get to where they got. But along the way, they've been dumping these ladders down behind them so that no one else uses them as well to climb up. So when these guys give advice, don't think they're going to lead you down to a path that eventually will lead you to where a ladder is and to climb up. And then next thing you know, you're on the same floor as they are. Whether you see that or you believe that or not, it's up to you guys. It's just that's the way it is. Because I listen to these guys when they talk. It's good to listen to them, but you got to know what to weed out and what to keep. Majority of the times when they tell you, oh, go save this or save this much money to take care of you later, well, no shit. Like my mom and dad tells me this. You're one of the richest people in the world. I'm tuning into you so I could hear how I can become like you, like billionaire, possibly the future's first trillionaire or whatnot. The problem is with that, again, that's another issue as well, is it is mathematically impossible for you to logically spend that much money in a lifetime. Which leads me to another point. In order for these individuals to accumulate this much wealth, a lot of people have to make sure either a lot of people will need to become broke or a lot of people have to die in order for this person to continue to have this. I understand they work hard for it. Some of them don't sleep. They sleep like 20-minute naps and all this, and that's cool. And that's wow, robotic like and Tony Stark like. But to what point or to what extent do I need to hear the Bill Gates and the Melinda Gates Foundation and how much they care about African kids and the trials that they're running on them over there and all that stuff, while the solution is possibly in their hands of passing money? These people are dying from hunger around the world, not just in Africa, even here. If the world's 1% or 5 of those world's richest men or women in the world, the 5 top, if they were all to split their wealth up on every citizen in the world, not only in one country, no one will be poor. Why should that be a case in AB's world? I know you guys, some of you might think that this is fairy tale and whatnot. It's not fairy tale. It should be, that's the right way of living, because you don't take your money when you leave life. And if this world wasn't based or set up on materialistic foundations, nothing would go over price or out of price. No one will be out there in walking next to a bakery, trying to steal a loaf of bread. When people around the world are stealing necessities for life to live, similar to loaf of bread. I was listening the other day to this guy that was out in Yemen, and you know what's happening in Yemen is like there's a lot of famine, obviously that's happening. They're sanctioned from all around. The Saudis are screwing them over and all that stuff. And again, this is not a political channel, guys, you know, but from time to time, AB shines the light on the whole planet. AB is not just for this or that. You guys know that the OGs in here know that I'm a humanitarian, And I see everyone the same. Doesn't matter where you're from, what you believe in, absolutely the same, because you have as much rights. You think just like you have your thoughts, but you think just like I think. You eat just like I eat. You drink just like I drink. And that's how everything is. Besides that, we're all the same. And it's sad. It's sad. It's sad. Like this Yemeni person was saying that what did we do in this world? That for so many years now, I'm watching my own kids die in front of me from hunger, and they look like skeletons. And disease, famine, and I'm looking right across the border, and I'm seeing people in Rolls Royces, Bugattis, high skyscrapers. He's referring to Saudi Arabia and the rest of the Gulf. In no world it makes sense, guys. You don't need to have my same flag, or we don't need to share the same flag for me to know that it's important for me to make sure you eat and your family eat. I know I'm asking for something so much bigger because it never happened in mankind history, but I can only dream about something like that, right? Why is it possible? Why is it okay for us to think, even think or sleep at night, to know that there's people across the oceans, not even in our own backyard, that are dying, whether one from hunger. Come on, guys, that's the one thing that should be a given in life. In the 21st century, hunger issues. Okay, Coiled again is in the house. What's up, AB? How are you doing, Coiled? Where am I at? AB is right though. Well, PPL need a better BS meter. Pabloco. Um, Buffett is like Henry Ford, making the 5-day work week and school curriculum to keep people uneducated and poor. Yeah, I mean, and another thing I'm very famous for saying around even my peoples around here, my inner circles, uh, is I always say that people like Buffett and them and all these other people, the reason why I personally left college, you know, as you guys know, I was in college and all that stuff. And the reason why I left after literally without even finishing the whole first year, um, is because I saw that in that world. And I'm not saying it's wrong to go to college. Everybody has a different way of cutting out the piece of their pie in this life. Um, but the way I saw it, as some person wrote a book, and that book got approved somehow by the government to be the curriculum, that now I have to base my life or my sanctuary up here based off of. And the professors teaching it, they're making good money. The government is using this to put loans on people, further making you a slave to the system. Because it shouldn't cost this much. It shouldn't cost you, anyways, in general for education. You know why it shouldn't cost? I can make a very, very good conversation for that if you guys want to hear it. But simply in one sentence, hopefully in one sentence, um, it is to the government or to the countries, to that particular country's advantage to not charge people for their education. Furthermore, encouraging everybody to go ahead and get educated. Furthermore, making the country itself rise, you know, and not have the possibility of be a third world country. So it's always the best interest for the government to why they shouldn't. It shouldn't be a question. If I was president, oh, that's the first thing I will do. I'll throw in uh, is hey, education is free, and all we have to pay at that point is for. I know I sound like Sanders now, but but hear me out. I'm a little bit different. I'm not as crazy and yelling and screaming and all that stuff. Um, but it's free because I'm looking 5, 10, 12 years down the line to when I have to start collecting the crops, which is going to be a full harvest of educated people that can easily help the country in every place. There's no need for us to bring people from across the world. Do you see this? How many engineers you see working or doctors work at your hospital at the top of that helm? How many are not from the US? Majority. Almost every hospital I've witnessed, I went to, the leading surgeon or doctor or person, whether they were Indian or Arabic or Asian, by whatever country, flag they report to, or even African. Very little that you see actual American born or American that is, in that. We should have each single person in there. We should not even have, the government even have this program where if I open up a business right now or a particular thing, authentic thing, or a particular job that only someone that is outside the US can do, I can literally file for them and they can become US citizens and I can bring them over just because they are the only ones that can do that particular specification for that particular job or gig. There should be no space for stuff like that. Keep our jobs here. And this is not against anybody in the world. I want to make this map of a build so that it can be adopted by every other country out there in the world so that no country will need us. We don't need you, you don't need me, but we want to do business with each other. I take what you make there, whatever it is, barter with things, trade, import, export. The whole world flourishes. No one needs to have more piece of the pie and whatnot. We all are eating. Of course, many entities will fight me on that theory. They don't want that because why? Control. You can't have control when there is no need. You can definitely have control when there's a lot of need from all around. When people are counting on you so they can eat and cater to their necessities in life to survive or to live, you got control. You are controlling what the outcome or what happens in this region because you control it. You can't control it if everybody's well off. By well off, I don't mean like you have to have Bugatti Veyrons and whatnot. Well off, as in you don't need someone to have the necessities that are needed by you and your loved ones to survive life, to live another day. Simple. The world doesn't need to be a materialistic life, 100%. And the world can be educated from the ground up without needing to have all these fees and everything, because all these loans, what it's doing, again, control. When you graduate a college and you have $100,000 to $200,000 in debt in loans, you're gonna work the next 10 to 20 years of your life in between buying your first home, paying the mortgage on that, paying your student loans that you're still paying off, and taking family, because obviously life goes on. You buy as you're, you don't just stop there. You're gonna have your own family. It's gonna grow, more expense. You're gonna see by that until your retirement moment. That's if you're one of the people that were controlled, but the lucky controlled by the system. By the time you retire, now you can finally breathe and you're not in debt of anything. That's if you're lucky. Which at that point, what do you have left? You basically lived most of your life a good, and again, I don't mean this term now that I'm going to say, I don't mean it in any way, but it's fitting the subject that I'm talking about. But you technically will feel like you've been enslaved all your life, and now you have your final years to go ahead and see what, like, live it up. Just do whatever you can. And even then, something wicked as called COVID popped up that specifically targets the elderly, uh, after retirement age people. So basically, benefits can go away once those people no mas and no more breathing. So basically, AB left the college realm then because I saw what that was about. Every person that is born, there is a spot for you with chains. That's the way I see it. That's the way I seen it when I was younger. Your chains are right there. Just report to your station and put the chains around your own wrists. And I said, no, F that. I'm not going to be like this. And I knew that the system would hurt me because look at it. I went for my own small business. I explained to you guys yesterday in a very long stream, the day before yesterday, sorry, not yesterday, in a very long stream, why the small businesses are the main target to all this madness. Because that was everybody's main hope and way to further better their lives on their own and even receive more blessings off of their own work. Why should I work so hard only to receive 10% of my hard work? Why can't I receive 100% of my hard earned work? And then what I do with my 100% is my decision because I worked for this. That should be everybody's luxury to work with and dabble with. That should be everybody's right to play with. Small businesses are being shut. More so, adding more onto that point as well. When I have to watch exactly every word that I'm saying, even though I know I stepped over the line a long time ago and many times, not with you guys, obviously with the powers that be that may be, but you know, again, I don't give two craps about that. I'm not doing this so I can get wealthy off of YouTube or any of this stuff. I'm gonna say the truth no matter what, as always. Um, you guys are gonna also see like with these like what's happening. I'm not saying this so I could tell people don't go to college. No, not by any means. I'm just putting out points to show what I think should happen. Yes, knowledge is power and knowledge is important, but why should it come at a cost that is much more hefty than your own expense? It's only so that they could tie you down until the prime of your life is gone, and after that you're no good. You're in other words, they call it retirement because you're useless at that point. That's how they say it. I'm not saying this. Obviously, that's what they're saying. You can't be doing this anymore at that high level or whatever it is that you were working. So therefore, you are going to get retirement, and that's what people work all their life to get to. And in my opinion, I think it's sad, unfortunately, because my output on this whole matter is that you should be not living to work, but working to live. You know, it's just part of life, and that's important to have that. But the structure that we live in this world is you live to work, and by the time it's time, your knees can't take it anymore, your back can't take it anymore, and whatnot. Now you get to go and enjoy your life. But what's the value of that when majority of your life you only have one? Why should any part of it be structured to work and someone else is enjoying the fruits of your work? And that someone else is not like another human like you and I. It's a system of humans that wants to live and eat grapes from the hands of employees while they're sitting down in their mansions and their yachts. And you are sweating your ass off in some sort of plant, um, that is either shipping off things and it's in a burning summer. It's a huge plant, a lot of bodies, a lot of people. Even the systems are not working as much. They want to save, these plants want to save electric costs and everything. So their ACs are not as powerful on. They're on eco-friendly mode. um, while the owners of these plants are playing golf at and eating lobster and steak somewhere in Miami or Fiji or wherever exotic place you want to think of, or have a quick flight to Paris or to Venice just to have that perfect caviar just for lunch, and then fly right back over to over the Atlantic over to the U.S. So yes, free school for all. That way, in AB's world, free school for all. You become something highly educated, specialized in your field, whatever it is. If you become a surgeon, all because the government made it free, guess what? You will forever, instead of me having as a government, if I was the government, instead of me having to own you and force you to work for me because you owe me a lot of loans, now you will glorify and do nothing but work in this great country because you have a principle now. You have a reason. Like without this country, this amazing country, I would never have been this person. And they paid for all this. They paved the way for me. You will never forget these lands. You will forever be grateful to these lands because these are the lands that made you that not made you who you are, helped make you the person that you are today. If AB's hypothetical word is the case, and on top of that, you're going to be working from your heart, not to point or to solve your debt. You're going to work from the bottom of your heart. Every patient you see, if you're, like I said again, it's hypothetically speaking, if you're a surgeon or a doctor or a physician or an engineer, every job or gig you approach with no pressure, nothing. You're not going to approach it from the matter of while you're thinking about the next 5-10 years. By the time you've finished paying off your loans, I can't wait until I get all this load off my back, and I got to think about my kids' college payments, so I need to prepare for it from now and all this stuff. You don't even need to think about that because they will have to cut out their own route in life. They want to go to college. They don't need to. They just need to obviously be accepted to college. At that point, you show what you got. You want to show your grades, you're working, you go further studies, blah, blah, blah. You got there's no need to think about money and all that stuff. And you're good to go from that point on out. When you become the thing, now other countries and other regions will pay you as an expert even double. Just please come down here. And while you're paying your taxes here, because I think every citizen, yes, tax needs to coexist so that with the taxes, we can always keep making sure that nobody is on the streets unless it's some drug related situation. But even that can be cleaned up. And I'm not talking about no walls, building, or none of that stuff. I know the agendas that are out there, and it's much easier to stop all that stuff. Much, much, much easier. You nip it up the butt before it becomes a lit cigarette, you know? If that even makes any sense. I just made a new one. So it's much easier to nip that before it becomes lit and all that stuff. And that only if you guys could see inside of this and this, you could only imagine if it was hypothetically speaking, yes, approved, and I could. Man, this world will be a beautiful place. This world will be a beautiful place, and there will be no place anybody would want to live uh, without this. Because again, it won't be a materialistic world. All the scales are going to be thrown out. There will be no scale to tip the balance or any of that stuff. The scales get thrown out when it's not a materialistic world anymore. Everything becomes a luxury to play with, but at no cost, because that's the universal way of living. Every human would come to life and will go out of this life thinking like, I wish I had 5 more lifetimes. Because life is amazing. This life is amazing. Mm. Mm. That was an Arabic pastry. You guys are missing out on that. Excuse me. Sorry, I won't do that again. I promise. Let's read some of these. All these genocides going on all over the world, but it doesn't make the front page news. Um, yeah, we know who controls the media here. So, true that, Pabloco. Whoever's agenda. Oh, I think I skipped. No, I didn't skip. Yeah, I was right. I just skipped one comment, which is coiled. The cat just let himself in. Yes, but he didn't let himself in. Somebody else let him in. In the clutch, wanting to change the hearts of the man, um, of man is a beautiful thing. Love how you love all of mankind. Appreciate it in the clutch. You're always in the clutch. Coiled again is on fire. Leah, lucky control, then refused. The Okay, I get the stars. Independent practice is freeing, and we no longer feed parasites. I love it. Look at that. Strong statements here. So let's talk about my tweet, or not my tweet, my post in the comment section yesterday. Uh, well, today, but technically kind of like yesterday at night, but it was today, this early in the morning, like it was around 1 or 2 a.m. And I mentioned something along the lines about, you know, obviously Musk making a tweet with popcorn in it. I know he made tweets similar to that before, or a tweet before that, and it wasn't relevant to this. But you guys remember what I've been saying for these past few weeks. I've been saying that there is major attacks happening, right? And I can't put my finger on who they're attacking. It seemed like, and I did mention, it seemed like they're attacking Musk from all angles, because you remember the conversation about Bitcoin dropping under 30 grand, and 30 was where AMC or Tesla was standing at, around 30 to 31K a Bitcoin. And by that happening, they are, it's a deliberate, it seemed to me like it's a deliberate hit on Elon and Tesla, because he's trying, to grow his wings a little too much of their liking, which is buying Twitter, buying this, being in the spotlight of everything. Anything he says about anything automatically starts ripping. The Doge phenom, the love that he has from people. He created enemies out of Gates, and obviously Bezos. This is just his arch nemesis, and many other people, obviously, in the upper class. So when I saw what they did yesterday, when the S&P took him out of that one index fund, took Tesla out of an index fund. I mean, even ARK Investments, what's her name? Somebody helped me before on this one, and it looks like somebody's going to have to help me again on this one. I always forget her name. Come on, I'm looking at the comments section. Kathy Wood, before anybody says it. Yeah, Kathy Woods. Sorry, guys, beat you. So Kathy Woods even said that was insane or ridiculous, flat out. Same thing with Musk, saying the same thing. Tesla dropped under the $600 talk, like in that $600 zone, early this morning. It closed at, I think it went back up to the 7, possibly. Let me see. As we're speaking, yeah, it closed at 709, but it dropped to 694, which is gonna foreshadow to you guys that is gonna, basically, I'm telling you now, and without giving you financial advice here, that you're looking at, the 600s are imminent for Tesla. And it looks like this is the attack. And this is what I was telling you guys about, like to keep your eyes open on things like this, like betrayal here and there, some hits, some people become enemies or friends, alliances. I'm not as interested much about the Dalio, and I made my case about that for you guys, because again, it was like, what was it, $675,000 that he put on that, and I'll be honest with you guys, There are many retailers on our side that have more than that invested in AMC. So the fact that it's the biggest hedge fund manager and that's what they come up with, um, it's it shows me. And I told you guys what I was afraid of. Or it's good to have them, but keep your eye out for another Mudrick move. As I explained before, these people come in, they get some turn. As soon as AMC goes up, these guys go out. Like I could see that hit probably being done tomorrow, or sometime next week. Like it could easily be the case because they bought in probably in the nines or the tens. Uh, and obviously they didn't report it until many days later because that's just how the regulations are. And when AMC, if they want to do something foul to AMC, they can, at this point, if they want to drop it, I mean, with the headlines and everything, they want to drop it back that below $10. They need something big and huge, and it's going to have to be something like that, where they put out the media saying Ray Dalio made his money and walked out, and then Ray Dalio comes out and makes a statement similar to Mudrick last year and says, "Hey, this stock is worthless," blah blah blah, and that's what he does. And then a lot of people, you see, that's why I said be careful. Don't rely too heavy on these statements or this news, because a lot of people are now saying Dalio, 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 literally straight up. And if Dalio goes out, a lot of people are so emotionally connected to this, they're gonna think that if he got out of this, just the same case that we're making for him getting in, because when he got in, they're like, people are saying like, oh, if he got into this, that means there's something in this for, like, I mean, something interesting is in this, and he never loses, right? Well, if he goes out of this, what do you think the statements are going to be? The statements are going to be, if he got out of this, that means it's really not worth it. That means it is something bad in it. And a lot of people are going to follow through because they emotionally got too tied up to this. That's why I specifically keep saying to you guys, we got in this alone. We took this bad boy this much, or these bad boys in this case, this far alone. And when this is over with, we're going to be alone because we did this. No other major person helped us do this or get to this point. And another thing, I would be really interested. The reason why I shared Elon Musk's tweet is because, oh my God, if Elon Musk really is joining forces with us, ladies and gentlemen, the world's richest man, and it's not because he likes us, because he could have done so a year and a half ago. Um, it's just he knows at that point, you want to screw me. You remember there was a movie, Hangover. Remember the Asian guy that pops up out of the trunk? I forgot his name. He's a known actor. He's also a doctor in reality as well. He's smart. He came out of that trunk, and I'm gonna say sorry for that F word, guys, and all that stuff. But that's the statement he said. So it just you can't bleep it out. He came out of that trunk. He was like, "You wanna fuck on me?" It was so I was dying from laughter when I saw that scene. Um, oh my God. And that's what I see Musk probably doing. Um, if they're attacking him, whether it's BlackRock, Vanguard, government, Citadel, whoever it is, if they're attacking him, he is intelligent enough to know where he has to hit them to really hurt them. If they want to hurt him in his Bitcoin investment, because majority of Tesla is either Bitcoin or it's obviously Tesla. That's where his wealth is. Bitcoin, Tesla, and the rest is like a little here, a little there. But his major blow is there and there. And they see him trying to buy Twitter and everything. I think with the governments or these powers out there that are possibly attacking him, because I don't know that for a fact, but it looks like 90% is true. Like I'm 90% sure that that's what's happening. It's a wing clip job. They're trying to clip his wings and tell him, listen, baby Charizard, we know that you want to become Charizard, but right now you're still a Charmander, and we will always be a Charmander. So be cute, be a Charmander, and leave the Charizard world to the Charizard world. We'll let you enjoy this title of being the world's richest man, and you could go, you and Bezos and somebody else can go back and forth with it, uh, and just stick in that lane. But don't slide over to the political world and everything, because if obviously, once again, he buys Twitter and goes through with it, he will have access to the most amount of data on the planet. And data is king. You know, Google, once upon the time, their CEO said years ago, he said he want to get as close as creepy to each single one of you. Like, that's how much he wants to know through the data that they know through your devices, Google account, whatever you use it, whatever you buy, Google Pay, all that stuff. Why do you think they have all these programs? To collect, see what you're buying, when do you buy it, what kind of things are you buying, um, Google account, who's emailing you, what are you emailing, what are you sending out, what are your interests? All these things are revealed through your activities, and they have access to all that stuff to better know what kind of individual you are. And that's how they also even give you those smart, these smart commercials, advertisements that come out on your screen. And it's just because one time you looked for a bicycle on Amazon, now you're getting commercials on your Facebook account as you're scrolling through, and suddenly you see bicycle, blah blah blah, 199 or some shit like that, and you're gonna be like, whoa, why am I getting so many commercials for bikes? Well, algorithmically speaking, that's how these things happen. And like I said, the Google CEO said himself that he wants to get as close to each one of you, to as close as creepy as creepy as he could, to each single one of you. And with Musk buying Twitter, he will be as close as creepy to all of you. Um, because he can also link it over in the future to his Starlink. It can be something that can be also added to their Tesla. They can have that into all their Tesla vehicles or homes. They all can tweet. Whatever, technological reasons they might have is just amazing for him. And that's eventually it. So if they're attacking him, I'm 90% sure they're attacking him with this, because again, MicroStrategy has more Bitcoin, but BlackRock is the number one or the number three biggest investor in MicroStrategy. So it didn't make sense to me. Why would they dip what they did with crypto? Why would they dip the value of their holdings in one of the biggest holding companies that they hold, which is MicroStrategy? Again, is the number one institutional investor in Bitcoin. Why would they want to shoot themselves in the foot? Well, that's only because they know that even when they drop it that low, they'll accumulate more Bitcoin at a lower price. That gives them more Bitcoin to hoard for later at a cheaper price. Instead of buying it at 35 or 34 or 32, they're okay with things to dip this low so that they can buy it for less, so that their average doesn't change. In fact, it goes down. They know this because they know it's imminent that in the future what Bitcoin is going to be. And it's all, I've made this case months ago for you guys, and I keep saying, when all Bitcoins are mined, imagine what the supply and demand will be like in this planet. Because every institution out there, almost every big institution out there, have adopted the blockchain and Bitcoin in this world. A lot of people are getting paid with Bitcoin, professional athletes across the world, and many different people are choosing to get paid in crypto or whatnot. That's it. It's coming. And when all that is owned and is done, the cap is reached, things need to keep moving. What does that mean? The supply just got vanquished, but the demand is still the same. Now the demand is even more, and the supply is sappers. What do you think that causes Bitcoin to be? more raging, and it needs to be obviously at a much higher price. The prices are going to surge to unbelievable and biblical numbers until somebody says, okay, I'll give you guys a Bitcoin. That's why these companies and institutions are hoarding that stuff. Not financial advice, of course, just putting this stuff out there for you guys to dabble with. So if Elon Musk wants to hurt, let's say what I'm saying is correct, the 90% is correct, and yes, they are attacking him. There are two ways he can attack them. One, I just read it right there. Christopher Santos, Musk should buy AMC to make up for Bitcoin dip. Yes, I'll go back to the other comments, guys. Don't worry. And yes, one is to buy AMC to obliterate these guys out of the water, even though BlackRock has a lot of AMC, but in the same time, and Citadel, so is Citadel, but they will take a big blow because yes, they will sell a lot, but since they're tied up to many other things, overall is going to hurt them more than it's going to help them to have when it's all said and done, because other things are going to castrate and work and go accordingly with AMC squeezing or GME squeezing, and then they hurt in these other alleys. So whatever it may look like they made off of AMC or GME, you know how many other problems they have? I mean, as we speak right now, they're already in the red with MicroStrategy, BlackRock, that is. But that's a loss they anticipated because they caused the loss to happen because of that, because they could buy more Bitcoin at a lower price. So that's the first way that he could attack back and hurt them. Second one is to literally go ahead and make literally his own crypto. When I say his own crypto, like the same thing that like if he makes his own crypto and goes all out, because he has the most capital that can, he's intelligent, he has the server, the dojo, he has Starlink, satellites, everything. He don't need anybody. Make his own coin, sell out all his Bitcoins, dump everything, because he has a lot, whether from Tesla and from his personal holdings. Let the crypto realm get completely down and turn on his coin. A lot of people are going to buy it out. It surges. His wealth goes up with it. Bitcoin and Ethereum goes down, and all he has to do is come out and say these coins are useless, even though he's not going to do something like that. But in doing so, he will force them to dump all their Bitcoins, and in doing so, he can purchase all these Bitcoins for even much less. So whatever they did to him, he can do the same thing in return and say, F you, thank you, but no thank you, no mas. Because he could easily, like I said, dump all his. You guys want to play this? You want to buy it for less? Well, you want to buy it for 26, 27, 28,000 Bitcoin? I don't want, that's not low enough for me. I want to buy this thing for, and he can obviously have tax write-offs because he's selling it for a loss right now. So he could have a tax write-off on this. This is amazing for billionaires like him. And can go ahead and buy it all when it drops down to 10 or 8 or $5,000, because when he announced and goes on a tirade saying, I'm dumping all my Bitcoin or Ethereum or Dogecoin, you know what people are going to do? People are going to dump the living hell out of those coins. And in return, he would literally have done, he took the play that they made, he took the same play and exercised it himself. And by doing so, everything drops lower. They get completely cornered. And now, even if they come and try to purchase to keep themselves alive or to purchase as much of this stuff, he's going to be a step ahead no matter what. And that's the beautiful world of money and how things work with that. So what do I hope? I hope that Elon is on our side. I do hope that that was a tweet that he made referring to the popcorn of AMC. And we're going to see. So yes, Tomorrow, as far as for AMC, I'm anticipating them to tackle it hard. I've seen here a few things that I'm going to share with you and tell you. Um, as far as their calls, they, since we closed at 13, a lot of people are still holding their $11 and under calls. But most people that have, even the 12 and a half began to sell off. Yeah, most people sold, if not all people, whoever was controlling this, sold their 13 and a half and their $13 calls. Wow. Even the $14 calls all sold out. This is basically the market maker and the other side. This is how they can control the prices. This is how they can make money on the way up and the way back down. I told you guys that they can go ahead and make it in a bunch of strategies like the strangles or the straddles, and that's how they make these monies. As you can see here, at the $15 call today, there was supposedly an open interest of 19,048 calls, but now the volume on that has been 30,731. So what's that telling me is that majority of those people that bought those calls has sold them, because volume, remember how it works. Volume, you buy it and then you sell it, causes volume to have two instead of, it's the same thing. It's the same call that you bought. And when you sold it, it's still the same one. But on the volume count, it goes to two, number two, because that's just how volume counts that. So when you look 15 or an open interest of 19,000 and you see a volume of 30, almost 31,000, that shows me that if you multiply this by two, that comes up to 28,000, which means, yes, majority of the people who have got out of that. So I'm not seeing any promising hope here for an up move. Nope. Instead, I see it being bottled down. Majority of the 12 and a half has gone out of the water. 11 and a half still holding. Some of them are. $10 is still somewhat solid, but then when I switch it over to see the, oh Lord. Yeah, there's an open interest on the $10 calls of puts. On the $10 put strike price, and that's an open interest of 20,334 contracts. And the volume on that has only been 2,704, which tells me there is a huge reason for why the price is going to dip to 10 or below tomorrow. They also have, oh wow, even the $9, 8.5, 8. Wow. 7, 6. 5. These are retail. I can tell here. 3. Wow. 0 volume on that. Those people are all, I could tell you that that's the market maker himself. Far out of the money calls and far out of the money puts. Put so much pressure, and when a sell-off happens, it becomes even more violent on the way down. So yes, the worst case scenario for tomorrow, as I'm seeing here for us, for one, in my opinion, not financial advice, of course, I see us going down. I don't see any going up happening. And I see us worst case scenario, and again, this is worst case scenario, going down possibly anywhere. I mean, they're aiming for $8 or less. But as I told you before, now that the price is at 1308, as the price drops, if they're able, like, and this is what makes it a little complicated because no one can be 100% spot on with it, but you can at least, it's impressive to at least know what to expect. So for example, if I'm playing puts on this tomorrow, I will, if it does indeed capitalize the way I've been expecting it to happen, if it goes accordingly, then I would definitely be getting out anywhere around the $11, $10.50 range if it's that violent of a dip, uh, because I'm not going to wait until the 8, 9, obviously dollars, because it could easily, if it drops from 1308, by the time the contract, the put, dropped from 1308 all the way down to 12, or from 1308 to the 12s, the 9 and the $8 puts already are in the money, kind of like profitable. So they're out of the money to exercise, of course, but they are in the money already as far as profit, because it is dropping. The IV and the Greeks on the put makes a lot of sense. So when it drops to that low, people who are holding that, the $8 or $7 or $6 puts, they could easily, their intention is to drop it to the $9 range, for example, hypothetically speaking. And here it looks very clear that $10 is, it looks very clear here. Like they're trying to dip it down, but they could easily be aiming for 11. And as it drops down to 11, all those 10, 9, 8, and 7 puts will be sold off just for money purposes. Since they, or he is the market maker, he gets to make sure that he burns off all the calls that are on the options chain for this week. And yet again, taking about we're looking at possibly around 220 or 200,000 to 250,000 calls out of the ether for his pockets. So that, ladies and gentlemen, was fun enough. We did 2.5 hours, solid 2.5 hours. I don't think you guys want me to take any more of your time on this. We spoke a little about everything here, guys. We spoke history. We spoke valuable lessons. We spoke what we can do, what we can't do, what we need to watch out for. So many things. What's going to happen tomorrow, and what are the possibilities for next week? And obviously, we're here. The Discord, we have maybe one of you guys and Pabloco. I don't know why this haven't happened a long time ago, but this needs to happen. Sorry, you need a wrench. If you would be more than kind, brother, man, by sharing the Discord link in the comment section. Again, guys, it's free. We don't have any charging for any of that stuff. But we get to have a little more inside on the Discords. We have news, special news, and things like that. And whenever we're not obviously on live or making a video, it's a much quicker way to contact each other and get a hold of each other. So Pabloco, if you're still in, please, brother, if you don't mind sharing the Discord link. If not, let me see. I think I can get it. Okay.
Do you want to teach your child to read? Well,
no, I don't want to teach my child to read. Leave me alone. Thanks, Pabloco. I was literally about to just do it. You guys heard that commercial? It popped up out of nowhere. It's like, do you want to read? Teach your child to read? No, I don't want to teach my child to read. And I don't want to read myself. I don't have a child. So yes, once again, my loved family, dear family members in here, I hope that you liked everything we talked about today. Please don't tune in too much to FUD that is out there. Know how to cancel noise, unnecessary noise out there, because you can, again, this is a sanctuary of your own, and what you allow and what you don't allow to come in comes down to you. So I'll leave you guys with this. I'm going to go ahead and hopefully finish that piece of dessert that I have on my left. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much to all of you. And I think think Pop Loco wrote something here. Musk is also supposed to make his own cell phones too. He is. His own phones, his own satellites, his own Twitter. I added the Twitter part. Leah, that's good news about AMC dropping. Yay. I'm glad. See, that's the beautiful thing about here that, like, you know, that we anticipate AMC to drop instead of to go up, unless you're a day trader. And then, you know, I'm kind of sinfully here, um, happy if day traders of AMC get burned. I just enjoy it because, again, I just hate people who day trade AMC. Um, I don't have anything against people. You don't have to tell me you a day trade AMC or not. Um, at the end of the day, just don't piss me off and don't say I day trade it. Do you have it with your own self? Um, and Pablo shared the Discord. Thank you. And Coiled again, thank you as well. Once again, guys, much love, AB Investments. Have a great night.